Hello, I'm Karen, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to make some face masks. Now, the image that you can actually see, we've actually got our antibacterial gel, crochet hook. This is a 4mm crochet hook. This is the actual mask folded up, and this is a pack of tissues, and underneath you can see this is a plastic bag. Okay, so the reason why that I'm sharing all of these things with you is because I was thinking about having to go back to work and travel on public transport. And in the UK, they've made it compulsory that you need to wear a face covering. So before we actually make the mask, I need you to know this is not going to protect you from all of the ailments that are going around in the world, but it will minimize it. Okay, it's not going to completely stop it. So, and the reason why that I've got all of these things here is because this is the kit that you'll need. So if you was going to go to work 5 days a week, you're going to need 10 masks, 10 bags, hand gel, and this has got 10 tissues in it. You can use cotton or whatever if you want to line it, that choice is yours. Okay, but this is what I just wanted to share with you, so that you think about planning ahead for when you actually do go back to work on public transport. So I'm going to move the gel and the tissues and everything out of the way. Like I said, I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, and move the bag out of the way. This is my mask. This is an adjustable mask. And the reason why that I'm sharing this first one in black, is because I've got my white background and you can see the holes through it. Okay, and so as you move it around, you can actually see that there are some holes. Okay, so it's not going to stop everything. But once you've made one of these, if you just blow, like if you put your hand against your face like you was going to blow out a candle and you feel your breath, then you put this in front of your face and blow through it and feel the difference with your hand the other side. You can see the difference. So, and on this one as well, unfortunately, because it is black, you can't see the chains very well. So I'm going to just move this one out of the way, but that's my one there. This one is one that I've been working on. This one, obviously, I've put a little nose on it and some whiskers just to make it a little bit more cheerful. And I've still got to sew the buttons on the end yet. These are the adjustable straps. And then, but then this one, you can see the chains, and you can see obviously my stitching looks awful on the inside. But if you, I'm just going to use some tissue paper just to demonstrate. So if you're going to put something inside it, you'd put them underneath these chains, okay, and it would hold that into place. So whether you want to use, so like I said, you can use fabric, tissues, whatever. These are all going to give you additional protection, but they're not going to protect you from getting everything. But the biggest danger that we've got realistically is the asymptomatic people who spread germs unknowingly. Okay, so we need to all be as careful as possible. So like I said, I'm going to use a 4mm crochet hook. I'm just going to use some double knit yarn. Okay, this is some of the So Crafty one that I've got from Aldi, which I love this yarn because we've got so many different colours. And oh, one more thing, you're going to need a pen and paper for this one. I'm introducing, see this stitch here is actually, I don't know what it's actually technically called. I was coming up with an idea on a Sunday afternoon. So to be able to do this pattern and to be able to help you go along, it's so much easier. I'll just make myself some space. If you actually write the pattern. So you're going to begin with a chain of 13, okay, and then you're going to do 12 because you're going to skip a chain and work into that. So you're going to do 12. It'll be single crochet if you're in the US, or we're going to use double crochet if you're in the UK. Okay, and then that's going to be your, so that's row 1, and then from then onwards we're going to use this stitch. So it's front loop, back loop in the same stitch. So I'm calling it a FLBLITSS stitch. Okay, so that's what we're going to actually do, just so that you know. So this one also needs to be 12, and then we need another 12, and then you're going to go 14, 14, 16, 16, 18, 18, 20, oops, 20. When we get to 22, we want 5 rows of this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go back down to 20, 20, 18, 18, 16, 16, 14, 14, 12, 12, and the very last row of 12 also needs to be just a plain single crochet or the plain double crochet. Okay, and this is just to help you tick it off as you go along, because otherwise you can get lost in your own little world and forget where you are. And I just thought I'd share that so it's easier. I'm actually putting the written pattern in the description box in the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start you off. I'm going to show you how to do the stitch, how to do the increases, how to do the decreases, and just give you some general ideas. Okay, so I'm going to start off. I'm just beginning with a twist. You can start off with a slip knot depending on what you want to do, and according to the pattern we need to begin with a chain of 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the first row, we're going to skip the first stitch and we're just going to go underneath one loop and just do, say it's the single crochet if you're in the US, or it's a double crochet if you're in the UK. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I'm just going to get my my notebook, and I've already done the chain 13 and I've just done a row of 12. So now we're going to move on to the main pattern stitch. This is going to work all the way through. Okay, so you chain 1, and like I said, I've already said it, you're going to go into the front loop. So the front loop is the one that's nearest to you, the back loop is the one that's further away. So you want to go underneath the front loop and yarn over. Now you want to go into the back loop. If you try and look and you try and go that way, it's really fiddly, but if you put your hook through that same loop you've already just worked in, then push your hook away that way, yarn over, you'll see it's come underneath that back loop. So yarn over, pull it through. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so we're going to go underneath the front loop, yarn over, pull through, and then put your hook back underneath that same loop and then come underneath the back loop. It's just easier that way. Catch hold of your yarn, pull through, yarn over and pull through 3. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Well, obviously we're doing it all the way through, but so it's yarn over underneath the front loop, underneath the back loop. Try not to split your yarn, otherwise it's going to be really, really difficult, and if you do make a mistake, it's hard to undo. Okay, so now I've shown you how to do the stitch. You might want to replay that bit over and over again. This video is purely a video like that, so if you don't want to listen to my beginning bit again, turn the volume off. And if you just want to just skip your way through it and then say copy the pattern, that I'm going to put the pattern in the description box underneath, so you've got that. I haven't typed it up this time. I just came up with this pattern on a Sunday afternoon, which was actually a week ago today, because it is Sunday and today is the 21st of June, and this year it's Father's Day today. It doesn't always fall on the same date in June, but it's always on a Sunday in June. Okay, so happy Father's Day to all those fathers that like to have a happy Father's Day. And right, so I've got to the very end. Now the very end stitch, it always tips over. So I've gone into it without thinking. It always tips over, so the loops are to one side. So you need to go underneath the front, but then when you come in to try and catch it to come back, you can't find it because it's actually down there. So you just need to go down there for this one. Okay, and so there you go. You've done your first row of the front loop, back loop. So I'm going to tick that row off. Now when you turn it over, you can see the pattern that it's forming. Okay, at the front it just looks quite plain like that at the minute. So chain 1, so we need to do another row exactly the same. So I've done my chain 1, turn and just go underneath the front loop, catch my yarn, back loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, I'm just going to move on try and do it a bit quicker because I want to show you how to do the increases next. And so you can see, I would say that this stitch really is more like an experienced crocheters kind of stitch, or if you are a novice crocheter and you want to take this on, then I think you need to be very determined and persevere at it, and you can do it. I believe in you. But yeah, so but yeah, when I was thinking about everything, I made sure that I've watched all of the videos that I possibly can about designing the actual coverings, and I wanted to make sure they had something, because I'd looked at the other crochet ones, and to be fair, they did them a bit like my bra top that I did from my Stone Age pattern ages ago, and they was putting the chains to go around your ear. But the thing is with crochet, as we all know, we're at the end stitch again, so it's a bit weird, this one. Got to come down and pick up the back loop, which is there. Oh, I've got a squeak going off there, sorry. Okay, so we've actually got our 2 rows of the FLBLITSS stitch. And we're going to do the increase now, so I'm going to chain 1. And before that, I was going to say that if you do the chains for the ears, they tend to stretch, and that's why I did the adjustable one, because then you can put up with the stretching with that. So to do 2 stitches in 1, we'll go underneath the front loop, yarn over, and then come underneath the back loop, yarn over. Okay, yarn over, so we're doing that's 1 stitch. Now we need to go into that same thing again, and it's a bit more fiddly now because you've tightened up the actual loops just there. Okay, so I'm not at the right angle for a video to be able to, and then to do this properly, then you come back through, and so you've done your 2 in the same stitch. So that's 2, and we need to make sure we've got 14, so I'm going to just count for this row. So that's 3, and I'll show you then how it works when you actually get to the end. Okay, so that's 4. Oh, I've got a snag on my yarn, but I'm going to keep on going. If you get a snag, you need to sort it out so it looks nice and neat. Okay, but yeah, I said I was going to count, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry if you're not at the same stitch for me to be counting. That was number 7, because I know that it can be off-putting. 8, but at the same time you can kind of keep up as well. 9, 10, 11, 12. Now this is the end one. Remember, the end one's tipped over, so we need to come underneath the front loop, then come down to get the back loop, yarn over. So that's our 1 stitch in there. Now we need to do another one, so we have to come underneath the front loop here, which is that almost you're going to this side, which is really feels a bit strange because you think, oh, I'm going to make this stick out really bad, but it doesn't. So there we go. So that's my 14th stitch. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm going to tick off my 14, chain 1, and this row is just a plain row of 14. Okay, and that's all you're going to do. You're just going to keep on doing the increasing. So it's an increase row, and you always do 1 increase at the beginning of the row, 1 increase at the end. So it's a really, really simple instructions for a pattern to be able to follow. Okay, and if I'm honest with you, I've timed myself, and to be able to do the full mask as in a complete bit without sewing in the ends, just the actual main body of the mask, it's going to take you about an hour. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, rather than keep showing you how to increase, because you've already got to that stage, you're getting hold of that one, I'm going to move on to this one. So this one I've actually worked my way up, and I've actually got my 5 rows of 22. So I've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 and 22. Okay, and as you can see, when it gets to this shape, it's a lovely shape. It's a nice firm but also flexible, yeah, kind of pattern that's going off. So I'm going to chain 1. So when we're going to do the reduction rows, we're going to go underneath the front loop, yarn over, underneath the back loop, yarn over, then into the next stitch, underneath the front loop, yarn over, underneath the back loop and yarn over. So you've got 5 loops on your hook this time, yarn over and pull through all 5. Okay, that's how we're going to do a reduction. And then you just work across the row like you would do normally, and keep on going, and you do the other reduction at the other end. So what I'm going to do though is I'm just going to because obviously I've already done that one reduction there, you might want to replay that one, or you might want to just wait till we get to the end, but I am going to work to the end just to be able to share that with you. I say, and when I was sitting doing these, I was thinking they're really nice for the winter months. It's not going to be something that you're going to enjoy wearing on public transport in the summer, because you're going to get hot. And I can also say as well, I tried wearing these without any filters, and if you wear it without a filter, you start to feel like condensation building up in the yarn itself, and it makes you feel all hot and bothered. So you really do need to put some form of lining, say whether you use these packs of tissues to be able to put inside to fold those up inside, or whether you just use plain toilet tissue, or whether you use kitchen towel, paper towel, those sorts of things. They all work, they're all some form of help, but they're not going to prevent you from getting absolutely everything, but they're going to minimize things down. Okay, and I say, because it's become compulsory in the UK, I was planning ahead and thinking, okay, I'm going to need like one in the morning to travel with. We'd have to take that one off, bag that one up, and then it would be wearing another one, a fresh one, on the way back home, because you don't know whether you picked up anything on the way to work. So it's always best to have 2, so you've got a fresh one. And you must wash your hands. These are not a substitute for hand washing or for social distancing or anything like that. These are purely to make sure that you're abiding by the law. And so if you decide to put like the little features on like this one to add a little bit of humour to the day. Okay, and so we're at the very end. This is this one I'm going to do 2 together. So it's underneath the front loop, yarn over, underneath the back loop, yarn over. Remember, the end one is twisted, so underneath the front loop, yarn over, and then find the back loop wherever it's gone. There it is, it's hiding. Yarn over, so you've got 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through, and it just gives this lovely curve. Okay, when you've done a few more rows of reduction, you'll see it kind of looks like a vase, I think so, or even like a like a piece of pottery. That's what I think. So anyway, that's your rows for reductions. Okay, so hopefully you've got the idea of that, and if not, you can just keep on going. So then what you do is, this is one I've made earlier. I know that this is a white one, probably not the best to have for the background. Oops, it is, I've just undone my stitch. Let's just redo that. So we've got front loop, back loop. But I just wanted to say, remember the very end row you do normal single crochet, so you're going underneath both loops again. Yeah, so sorry, underneath the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through. So it's a single crochet if you're in the US, or it's a double crochet if you're in the UK. And when you've done this row, which I shall rapidly do, well, not too rapidly because my yarn's not letting me, because I've got it the wrong way around, excuse me, in my arms and everything. And also I've got another hook there, move that one out of my way. Didn't help myself there. Okay, so we get to the very end here. And I know that say white on white, but it's actually, I really like this one. So you just do the normal single crochet at the end, just so that you've finished it off. And then we've got this one, remember this very end stitch. And then all you're going to do to be able to tidy up all of your edges is do a single crochet in these. You're going to go in the gaps. So this one I'm going to go in the gap there, yeah, and then you can ignore that bit there because that was where, yeah, and then do the just into the gaps there where the obvious places are, just to tidy it up. I did try doing the slip stitch or single crochet if you're in the UK all the way around, and I found that it left the edges looking messy. And by doing this say single crochet if you're in the US, or a double crochet if you're in the UK, this also helps to give it some curvature for it to be able to fit your face nicely. Okay, and you will notice as well as you're going around that now you're going to have to come into the different sort of space, because obviously some was increased stitches and some was decreased stitches. So you want to go all the way around your work to make sure it's nice and tidy, and you'll go all the way around until you actually get back to this row here. So you want to go all the way right round. I just want to show you working into the chain at the end, just so you can see that. So I'm just going to work my way, sorry I've split the yarn there, just going to work my way to the chain end, just so that you can see, because we want to try and make it be equal when we get around the other side. So got a bit more yarn. So this is the end row here. You can see, look, where I've got my chain there, and this is the single crochet row that I did. So you want to make sure you go into that very beginning one there, where you've actually did your little knot or your slip knot or whatever, and work there, and then come underneath the 2 loops of the chain that are left behind. Just go straight round the corner and underneath those, and that gives you this nice curve, which is also curving around there, but it's also creating this curvature to help it fit around your face nicely. Okay, so, and that's all you keep doing, just go all the way around until you get all the way up to this point here. Okay, and then you'll stop in that loop, not into this row there, you're going to stop in this side loop. So which piece is that next one then? So yeah, so when you got to that very end bit, I've already done this one, you do a chain of 65, then into the 3rd chain we then work, this is the double crochet if you're in the US, or the treble crochet if you're in the UK. So as you can see, I started it from the side. I told you not to work into that stitch there, because what you're going to do is you're going to skip that one and the next one. So you're skipping 2, and into the 3rd stitch you're going to work the US single crochet or the UK double crochet. And so you're going to go 1, the way you joined it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm just going to go into 7, And then you can see because we've got that curve there, that curved point there is where I want to be able to then join again to. Yeah, so we've got a nice continuation going on. You can come into the 8th stitch if you want to, it's the choice is yours really. Okay, and then you begin your chain again, so you do another chain of 65 and you just work that chain all the way up till you've got 65, and then you'd work into the 3rd chain doing this stitch, which is the double crochet if you're in the US and a triple crochet if you're in the UK. Okay, so I'm going to move away from that one and show you one that I've done in, this one is done in stripe yarn. Yeah, so it changes, so this one's kind of more sort of camouflagey, but it's kind of trendy. And so what you do is, wherever I've got this twisted all the way right round, move that out of my way. I'm trying to get lots into one video really. So once you've worked all the way back down that chain, yeah, I actually did come a little bit further over, look there, because I've done the curvature, so I'm going to skip the 2 and decided to slip stitch just there in this one. Yeah, and that's all you do to be able to finish that bit off. So I just need my scissors. I'm just going to cut that one off. Excuse me. Just pull that through. I'm not sewing in my tail ends, but the reason why I've got this one here now is to show you where to put the actual chains. Okay, so when you actually fold your piece in half, you've got like a bubble bit that's sticking out, which is, this is your, and it'll be an indent for the centerpiece. Okay, what I do is I get my centerpiece and then go 1 of these bobbly rows, 2 of these bobbly rows, and then to this one here, right near the edge, not into the actual very edging, but just underneath that loop there, you put your hook through there. Sorry, I'm just trying to get plenty of yarn to be able to do this bit. Move all my other bits out of the way, making a mess. I like to leave myself a nice long tail end because I like to have that manoeuvrability when sewing in. So then we're just going to get hold of the yarn and pull it through. And then we're to chain 13, so it's the same chains as you begin with. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Now you want to come halfway there. So you can fold it in half, you can eyeball it, you can just, you want to go somewhere where it's halfway through, not on the very edge, but the stitch, the row after that. Then you want to slip stitch that into place, make sure that's nice and secure, and then chain 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. And then you look, just, it's, this one is easy because you just go along to the end of there. Make sure your yarn is to the right hand side of your hook to do this. If you try to do it with your hook the yarn the other side, you can't do it. Okay, so you want to go into that indented place underneath that stitch there, yarn through there to do your slip stitch, and then cut off, pull that through. I like to sew my edges into these bits there, but this also adds that additional bit of curvature. You can see it's already pulling it up, and this is where you're going to be able to store, well, it doesn't store, but it just stops you, whatever you're using for a lining, from falling out. And obviously you need to do the same on the opposite side, so I counted from my centerpiece, I went 1, 2, and so that'd be my centerpiece. I'd go 1, 2, so I'd start over here and do it that way. Okay, so that they're matching. And then the buttons, oh, I forgot to bring my tape measure, but you need to make sure, if you just do yourself a sample of some double crochet or triple crochet, whichever it is, make sure your button can fit through. Okay, so I think these ones are about 1.5 centimeters, if I remember rightly, something like that. But anyway, just make sure it fits through there, just to make sure, because obviously you're going to need your buttons. If you don't want to do the buttons, what you can do is you can work your way all the way around the edge. I'm going to go back to the white one now. Okay, oops daisy. So let's just carry on with this one. I'm just going to get to the edge, even though I'm not going to come all the way around there. So let's just keep on getting till we get to the corner. Okay, so what you would do is you'd go all the way around this. So we're just going to pretend that I've done that bit. Okay, so this is my last stitch in the row. So then what you would do is, after you've been all the way around, is you then do your chain. Yeah, so do your chain as long as you want. 65 to 70 should be plenty for you to be able to do a tie. And then once you've got that long enough, you can then slip stitch back into your chain to give you a nice like shoelace style thickness to be able to actually tie up around the back of your head. Yeah, and that will make that nice and strong. It's not going to stretch too much neither. Okay, so you can do that. Or my final one that I've got to show you is, this is my hat that I was making, that I've been made a pair of gloves to go with it, and as you can see I've got buttons, and if I turn it over on the opposite side I've got buttons, but you can see my loops, because what I did is I made the mask but I did a smaller chains on the end with the there, so that it can fasten on. So then what you can do is, because I found this one was really comfortable actually, so if you was wearing this, okay, while you're out, you can actually just undo one side, and you whatever lining you put in it will tend to stay in place. But obviously if you drop it, you need to pick it up. We don't want any littering. Okay, so that's an alternative one, just so that you've got some colour coordination things going off, and so that they're all nice and neat. So you've got, but I think that these ones will be beautiful for winter. They are, you can wear them in this weather if you want to. So and then there's one more thing that I need to talk about, is how to clean them. So let's get back to this black one. So let's just say you've been out, yeah, you did everything you was told, you bagged it all up, and so at the end of the week you've got 10 of these. Yeah, so you can put them in the washing machine with your normal washing and do it that way around, and then tumble dry them. Or what you can do is you can get yourself some water with, disinfectant water, and if you just, I'm just going to just fasten this up just so you can see. Okay, so what you can do is you can dip it into the water and then you press it to get the water out. Don't screw it all up and squeeze it. And then what you can do is you can use these to be able to then hang it up. I know I haven't fastened the other one yet, but then you can hang this up on your washing line or on one of those radiator things to be able to hang it up to dry. If you are going to hang it up to dry in the house, put something underneath, because it probably will drip. Okay, so, but yeah, so, and obviously once it comes to the washing day as well, once you're getting all of those potentially dirty masks out of those bags at the end of it, you might want to make sure that you're wearing a clean face covering to prevent you from picking up anything from those that has been in your bag all week. And then wash all of those nicely, and then obviously wash your hands and put your other face mask to the wash to start again. Okay, so for this project, I shall show you as well these curl which I think they're kind of cute, and I do think that, like, especially as like we go along into the winter months, to be able to put some little additional things on, so when it comes to celebration times, because I was thinking, you could add like little tassel bits down and make yourself a beard on it. You could just put yourself some little hearts on it, or whatever you like. Okay, and if you are going to make these for somebody else, then I would suggest as well, I've got my Dettol spray, because it actually says it's for hard and soft surfaces. So I would hang these up, spray them, let them dry, preferably outside, and then put them into a little bag. Okay, so that they're all nice and fresh and you're keeping everything as germ free as possible. Okay, so I do believe that I've covered absolutely everything that I can think of, so you can do it. Just so you know, again, I did use a 4mm crochet hook and I just used normal double knit yarn. But if you want to use a bigger hook and maybe alter this pattern, remember, if you're going to make it smaller for children, you need to begin with a smaller chain at the beginning, and then you'd only work yourself up maybe up to 20 as an increase. So I do recommend that you make these and measure them to make sure that you fit for your different family members. But this size is just like an average size. This fits both me and my son, and he's a young adult and I'm an older adult, putting it politely. So there we go. So I do hope that you've enjoyed this, and I say I'm calling this the FLBLITSS stitch because I don't know. So, but if you do know what it's called, can you please put it in the description box underneath the video, because I really would appreciate that. Sorry, just need a little sip before I go. Oh, I'm joking on my drink now. So, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing. I think I've done everything. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Bye for now.